Hi there, fellow classmates. My name is Titus Boffman, and the issue that I decided to talk about today that is pressing on the world of worship ministry is the issue of technology. Now, as many of you, I'm sure, are either involved in worship ministry or in worship ministry full time or just in ministry in general, as many of you I know have probably come to realize that the advancements of technology seem to be inevitable. The world has continued to progress in this way, and it almost is something that we, as worship leaders and ministry workers, have to kind of adapt to because whether we want it to or not, it's going to continue progressing, whether that is in the way of Chat GPT and AI continuing to become more advanced. And so having to work around that and even discerning of if certain worship songs are written by solely AI, trying to discern that with your fellow peers of, okay, this song is biblically sound. This song is lyrically good. But is this something, knowing that it was written by AI, is this something that we would feel uneasy or okay with implementing into our service, knowing that it is written by artificial intelligence and not by a group of human writers? And so this is something that, as I previously stated, we as worship leaders will have to start to have the conversations about of what is going to be the hills that we die on in terms of the technological advancements that we start to take advantage of, and what is a boundary of technology that we say, this is where for our church we will stop with advancing any further or trying to get too technological with our services, because we want to still feel genuine in the way that we're making these services with our people for our people. And so as there are many advancements that technology has brought to not only our local church setting but to the global church, there is a much greater responsibility on us now as worship leaders and pastors that we must discern what the precautions and boundaries, as I had said, need to be for using too much technology, relying too much on technology, and still keeping the genuine authenticity of we're creating these services and planning these service orders so that our church congregations and that, most importantly, the Lord may be glorified in the offerings that we are creating for Him and for our people. And the issue is just that in the culture of today's world, it is more often than not that many people are starting to notice that whether it is through AI, whether it is through a very advanced lighting and audio and visual display setup, that technology has made worship at times more of a spectacle than a moment of realization for the worshiper. It is more of something of trying to create an experience for worshipers that they remember more than the gospel or the word of God being preached. It is something that people, whether they admit it or not, are starting to cling to, in the way of they cling to a good worship service, they cling to a church for their display of how technological they can get and how advanced their displays of technology, of lighting, of how good their video sounds. And this is an issue that can, if left unchecked, become a slippery slope for worship leaders and for pastors. And while there has been advancements that have made the life of a worship leader, like myself included, a lot easier in regards to the development of ProPresenter and of the Multitracks tool and of MIDI and of those things that have made getting a cohesive and unified band sound to come together, those advancements have been great and beneficial. But what this could potentially cause for the future is that there would be a lack of intimacy that could be achieved, because there's only so much that using, whether it is too much technology or too much lighting displays and fixtures that create this experience and environment of a wow factor, that could start to turn people away, because they will eventually see right through that. They will eventually see that this is a show to try and keep me engaged, and this guy named Jesus is not as engaging as what this church is presenting him to be. I like this church more than Jesus. And that is where we would need to take a step back as worship leaders and say, what is our priority with making these services and having this much technology? What is the focus? What are we trying to communicate to people when we are having services look and feel this particular way? And so I hope that this was a thought-provoking video for you, and I hope and pray for blessings for your future. God bless.